I hope there's no problem, man.
What's your name?
My name is Josh Emmanuel.
Well, Mr. Josh Emmanuel, I'm sorry. I can't employ you.
May I please ask why, man? I haven't even been interviewed. You haven't gone through my files to see my qualifications.
Young man, I'm sorry. I only employ female workers. So please, leave my office.
This is a women's only company?
I beg your pardon?
When I applied for the position, it didn't say women only. Are you deceiving the public? Why make it open to all qualified candidates when you won't even open a man's CV?
Young man, watch your mouth. I said get up and leave my office this minute.
No, ma'am, I'm not going to leave.
In I Don't Need Any Man, Laurie came back from work looking all tired. She collapsed into the couch as she called for Joy and her mom. Soon after, Joy appeared and she requested dinner. Her mom was surprised Laurie was back so early, but she told her she was tired, hence the reason. Laurie was presented with the documents that just came in. When Richard politely asked where he should place the documents, Laurie sarcastically asked him to place it on her head, before she proceeded to insult him for asking nonsensical questions. At this point, it looked like Richard was fed up with her. He told her he didn't deserve any of the insults or disrespect, and the only reason he was putting up with her was because of her mother. Richard reprimanded her for being disrespectful to every man and yet demanding for loyalty. He proceeded to call her mannerless before quitting his job. Maurice Sam, who played the character Josh, was sleeping peacefully before Tony frantically ran into the room and shut the door tight. Their landlord can be seen demanding for them to pay up their rent, and no matter how long they keep running, he will catch up with them eventually. Josh and Tony started talking once the coast was clear. They both thought of a way to raise money because they had nothing and they could not keep running from their landlord. They resolved on folding their sleeves and hitting the streets, since their certificate was unable to get them jobs. Richard called Laurie's mother and told her he had resigned. When she asked what the problem was, Richard simply told her to ask her daughter before he ended the call on her. Laurie's mother went into her room to ask her the reason her trusted staff resigned, but Laurie stated Richard was acting stupid and she had to tell him. Her mom was displeased and she rebuked her for being difficult with men. During breakfast, Laurie asked her mom what she would be needing for her 55 years birthday, and Laurie's mom stated she doesn't need a vacation or gifts and all she needed was to meet her man. Laurie's countenance changed on hearing her mom's request. She tagged her mom's request awkward and stated she didn't have or need a man. Her worried mom asked what she has against men and why so much hatred for the male gender, but she had no tangible answer. Laurie's friend Amaka came over to visit her at work and she broke her engagement news to her. Laurie was genuinely happy for her bestie and they had to go out to celebrate Amaka's engagement. Laurie's mom congratulated Amaka on her engagement, but she also shared how worried she was for her daughter. She was concerned about the way her daughter hated men and her desire to see her grandchildren was almost impossible. Amaka told her she was also worried for her friend Laurie and that she wished she had an answer as to the reason she hated men so much. She advised that they give her more time even though Laurie was already in her late 20s. Josh and Tony hungrily devoured the poor bread as they lamented on how hungry and tired they were from washing so many cars. Josh teased Tony for still having the ability to speak proper English instead of pidgin in their state of hardship. While they were still conversing, Tony got the sad news that his mom was sick. Josh had to give up the money they had worked so hard for to pay rent, and he assured his friend that they were going to be fine. The gatekeeper respectfully greeted Laurie, but he was met with a fury of eyes and no response at all. Laurie got into her office and asked her assistant Ineka why she was yet to find a female gatekeeper to replace the male gatekeeper they already had. Her assistant tried convincing Laurie that they already had a gatekeeper who does his job very well. Laurie scolded her for flaunting her orders before they both went through the schedule for the day. Laurie was scheduled to have an interview that day. When Ineka brought in Josh, who was supposed to have the interview with her, Laurie immediately switched. She dragged her assistant out and reprimanded her for breaking her rule of no male employees. Ineka apologized and told her that Josh was the most qualified for the job, but Laurie warned her against doing such next time or she would lose her job. Laurie simply went back in and clearly told Josh that she wouldn't be able to employ him because she only employs females. Josh found her reason very absurd and he insisted he wasn't going to leave her office as she instructed. In fact, for the world to see that she was being discriminative. Josh only stopped when she asked to see his CV and then straightforwardly gave him the job and called in her assistant to put him through. She, however, promised herself to make his life miserable. Lori looked so sad and her mom inquired to know what the problem was, but she wasn't coming forth and she demanded to be left alone. Josh complains to himself about what had happened earlier that day, but he was happy that he at least got the job. The very next morning at work, Lori and Josh literally bumped into each other and he quickly apologized, but that didn't stop her from spitting venom at him. Josh had to ask Nneka what Lori's problem was and she simply stated Lori just hated men so much, but no one knows the reason behind it. Amaka was of the opinion that Josh was wrong, but Lori was equally wrong to have rejected him even without looking at his CV. Her friend tried making her open up about why she hated men with her guts, but Lori avoided the conversation by telling her she was going to bed. At work, Josh came into Lori's office to drop off a document. When he had dropped it off, he politely demanded to have a conversation with her. She gave him an audience and he apologized for blackmailing her into giving him a job, stating he was so desperate to get on his feet. Lori just rudely asked him to leave since he was done talking. While eating out with his colleague Nneka, Josh, who couldn't wrap his head around the reason his boss was disrespectful and rude, just kept lamenting to Nneka. Nneka advised him to stay off her path so he wouldn't keep getting on her bad side. Lori summoned all her workers and questioned them about a certain error in the work. Josh indicated he did the work and he inquired to know if there was a problem because he made sure everything was accurate. Lori told him he signed off on the property worth millions for half the price and she threatened him to fix his mistake or else. Lori's mom thought she was overreacting and since the property had not been signed off officially, that it was a fixable mistake. She also reminded her that she once made such a mistake and she should stop putting so much pressure on Josh for no reason. She also instructed her to help Josh fix the issue since she was more experienced than he was. She wasn't happy but she complied. The next day, she called Josh into her office and informed him she had fixed the issue, but the next time it happens again, will definitely get him fired. Nneka informed Lori that she was sick and would have to get medical attention. Lori was concerned about her and she instructed her to take the week off to recover. So Lori had no choice than to work with Josh directly. While they were both out for a work project, Lori had a minor accident and it was dramatic. Since Josh didn't know how to drive, Lori freaked out because she thought she was going to bleed to death. Josh literally had to carry her to the hospital and even helped her home. Josh offered to help her to her bedroom, but she rudely asked him if he was okay in the head. Josh was about to leave when Lori's mom came back, and when they were done exchanging pleasantries, she insisted he stayed over for dinner, but Josh declined. Lori's friend thought Josh was extra nice to have taken Lori to the hospital and even brought her back, but Lori told her it was nothing. So because of her injury, Lori had to stay home so her mom could take over for the time being. Everyone was so happy to have her mom around and she commended Josh for his kindness towards her daughter and also for a job well done. When Josh got into a conversation with Lori's mom, she asked him about his relationship status and she bluntly told him she liked him. That night, Lori's mom had a heated discussion about her hatred for the male gender. Lori opened up and stated she was just uncomfortable with men because they do not regard women that are in love with them. Her mom started crying and Lori had no choice but to at least go on a date with a man. Lori's mom organized the dates in their house because of Lori's injury, but it didn't go well. Lori practically insulted her arranged dates and called him jobless for him to have had the time to go on a date with a woman. Her mom didn't take it lightly. She scolded her for embarrassing the innocent man who just wanted to have a nice time with her. Lori's mom got heartbroken when Lori stated she just wants to be single forever because her father abused her mom till his death, and that was the reason she vowed not to have anything to do with her man. Her mom apologized that she had to experience all of that, even though she tried to hide it away from her at that tender age. Lori's mom told her love was a beautiful thing and she needed to experience it, and she advised her not to let the bad experience rip her off of the joy of experiencing what true love was. They both cried and comforted each other. So after Lori's mom told Josh she liked him, Josh politely thanked her for liking him and she told him to get really comfortable with her. Tony advised his friend Josh to take full advantage of Lori's mom because she was rich. Tony advised him to make a move at her or maybe go for her daughter Lori, but Josh thought his friend was being ridiculous. Lori resumed work with a new personality. She greeted greeted the gatekeeper, who was genuinely shocked, and she proceeded to apologize for all the wrong she had done to him. She entered the office with a broad smile on her face and politely greeted Josh and Ineka. She called Josh into her office and apologized to him. She also thanked him for helping her when she got injured. Josh was so shocked that he almost couldn't utter a word. They both even ended up chit-chatting about how they all missed Laurie's touch. Laurie was so relieved that she shared with her friend on how peaceful she had become after resolving everything. While Josh was eating alone, he got joined by Laurie, and for the first time, they had a lovely conversation, which they both enjoyed every time they spent together. Laurie made a joke about asking Josh to marry her because he just kept complimenting her. During one of their project inspections, Laurie got so pressed with number 2 and it was dramatic, from looking for somewhere to use the restroom to looking for her car keys. They both finally made it back to her house and he had to spend the night over at her house. When Laurie had made Josh settle for the night, Josh had a flashback of the first day he came for the interview and all the drama that happened that day. While Josh was shirtless, Laurie came in with his food. It got awkward and she quickly left, but the picture of his shirtless body excited her. She thought of it throughout the night. They kept hanging out and enjoying their time together. Laurie's mom told her to confess her feelings to Josh if she liked him, but Laurie refused and told her mom it was in the man's place to ask first. Finally, Josh confessed his feelings for Laurie and she kissed him tightly, and the rest was history. The end. Moral lesson: don't let one bad experience stop you from enjoying many good experiences. I know you enjoyed this movie recap. Please do well to subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you can be the first to get a notification the next time we make a post. Thanks for watching.